Hello, Immortal News family, and welcome back to our channel. In the last 24 hours, we have received the somber news of the passing of extraordinary talents, and today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Before we start, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. Number 7. I will miss you and love you for the rest of my life. Those were the words shared by Preston Ordone after the heartbreaking loss of her son, Preston Ordone. The joyful spark behind the viral OK Baby videos that captured the hearts of millions. At just 2 years old, Preston lived more joyfully and gave more light than some do in a lifetime. Known for his mischievous charm, Preston's simple, cheerful OK responses, always followed by a playful twist, made the internet smile day after day. Whether he was splashing through puddles or exploring the world through wide, curious eyes, Preston turned everyday moments into magic. His videos, shared by his mom on TikTok and Instagram, reached people across the globe. Preston didn't just go viral, he made people feel something real. A moment of laughter, a reminder of joy, a reason to smile even on a hard day. Born in Louisiana in 2022, Preston was a cherished little brother to Paisley and the heartbeat of his parents, Caitlin and Jalen. He brought life, warmth, and laughter to everyone around him. Tragically, Preston passed away following a car accident on the way home from a doctor's appointment. The family's vehicle veered off the road near New Orleans. Preston was taken to the hospital, where he later passed. His parents remain hospitalized, recovering from serious injuries. The days since have been met with an overwhelming wave of love. Thousands have shared memories, thoughts, and prayers. A GoFundMe created to help the family has raised over $30,000. The online community Preston helped build came together in sorrow, but also in strength and support. Preston's impact reached far beyond his age. He reminded us that joy can be loud, messy, and full of tiny okays. He reminded us that childhood is something to be celebrated, not rushed. His grandpa, Glenn Norris, spoke out to defend his memory, confronting speculation and focusing instead on the heartbreak of a family trying to heal. Preston is survived by his loving parents and sister, each now holding tight to the memories they made with their little sunshine. The world may have lost Preston far too soon, but nothing can erase the happiness he left behind. Tributes to Preston Ordone. Number 6. She led with conviction, served with grace, and never forgot where she came from. These were the words shared by Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, a heartfelt tribute to Susan Holmes, a woman whose roots ran deep and whose reach spanned far. Susan Holmes passed away peacefully at the age of 82. Her legacy is woven into the heart of Monticello, Georgia, where she lived, served, and inspired for a lifetime. A seventh-generation resident of Jasper County, Susan traced her values back to the soil she was raised on. With her unwavering love for rural Georgia, she championed its people in every role she took: teacher, farmer, postmaster, mayor, and legislator. In 1998, she broke barriers, becoming the first woman elected mayor of Monticello. Her leadership was steady, thoughtful, and effective. She served until 2010, then moved into statewide influence when appointed by President George W. Bush to lead Georgia's Farm Service Agency. There, she managed vital programs that supported agriculture across 84 counties. But it was at the state capitol where Susan's voice became a powerful one for rural communities. Elected to the Georgia House of Representatives in 2010, she served with distinction for over a decade. She gave a voice to Middle Georgia and worked closely with agricultural and veteran affairs, never failing to put her community first. Rarely challenged at the polls, her election spoke volumes of the trust people had in her. Susan's awards speak to her impact. Northeast Georgia's most outstanding citizen, Girl Scouts Council honoree, Outstanding Leadership Award recipient, and Monticello's Citizen of the Year. She approached leadership with wisdom and humility, earning the nickname Steel Magnolia. She was strong but kind, unshakable but warm. Away from public life, Susan deeply loved her family and faith. She was a devoted wife to her husband Paul for over 55 years. Together they raised 3 children and made Monticello their lifelong home. She gave as much to her church and local organizations as she did to public duty. Susan Holmes passed away due to natural causes. She leaves behind a legacy of servant leadership, rural advocacy, and unmatched grace. Tributes to Susan Holmes. Number 5. Looking back on it, I wonder how we all had the patience to do it. But we did it, Julia Parsons once said about her wartime work. That quiet strength defined her life. Julia Parsons passed away peacefully at the age of 104. A pioneer in a time when few women were allowed a voice in military service, her work as a World War II Navy codebreaker shaped history in ways few ever knew, until much later. Working at the Naval Communications Annex in Washington, she helped crack encrypted messages from German U-boats, decoding vital information that changed the course of the war. Though sworn to secrecy for over 40 years, Julia never sought recognition, but recognition eventually found her. She was one of the first women commissioned through the WAVES program. She worked on early computing machines like the Bombay to decode Enigma transmissions. With patience, curiosity, and only 2 years of high school German, she broke through layers of encrypted enemy messages, day after day. After the war, she raised a family, taught English, traveled worldwide with her husband's engineering career, and continued a lifelong commitment to learning. In her later years, she began sharing her story with schools, veterans groups, and historians, ensuring future generations would understand the role of women behind the front lines. In recent years, Julia was honored across Pennsylvania and featured in a national documentary. In February 2025, she was recognized as the last living WWII Navy codebreaker. She remained curious and spirited to the end. "She was a force of history who never asked for thanks," said a representative from the Veterans Breakfast Club. "But we owe her everything." Julia's quiet heroism reminds us that courage often works behind closed doors, and greatness sometimes wears no badge. She leaves behind 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and 11 great-grandchildren. She will be laid to rest beside her beloved husband in Arlington. Julia Parsons passed away from natural causes, her life a bridge between a turbulent past and the peace she helped secure. Tributes to Julia Parsons. Yeah. Number 4. He is the secret of life. He is the secret of everything. That was how Ina Canavaro Lucas explained her extraordinary journey, a life that spanned more than a century and touched the hearts of generations. Known to many as Sister Ina, she passed away peacefully at the age of 116. Her days were filled with purpose, faith, and the quiet strength of a woman fully devoted to others. Born in a small town in southern Brazil, Sister Ina began her religious journey as a teenager. She went on to serve for decades as a Catholic nun, educator, and mentor. Her Her faith guided not only her own path but also the lives of thousands of students she taught in classrooms across Brazil. Sister Ina inspired through action. She taught languages, science, mathematics, and art. She also led the creation of a marching band that grew to include over 100 instruments, performing across 3 countries. Her influence crossed borders and generations. She taught future leaders, including a young student who would become the president of Brazil. But her deepest joy came from small, everyday acts of compassion. She lived with humility, grace, and a heart ready to serve. Recognition found her, though she never sought it. At 116, she was celebrated as the world's oldest living person. When she turned 110, Pope Francis himself sent her a blessing. The honor was fitting for a life defined not just by years but by meaning woven into each one. Despite early childhood doubts about her fragile health, Sister Ina lived through 2 world wars, the rise and fall of nations, and 10 papacies. The world changed around her, but her purpose never wavered. She died of natural causes, surrounded by care and love. Her peaceful passing marked the end of an era, but her spirit remains deeply rooted in the communities she shaped. As Brazilian musician Maria Clara Lopes once said, "Sister Ina didn't just educate minds, she lifted souls." Her legacy of compassion, wisdom, and quiet strength will endure far beyond her years. Tributes to Ina Canabaro Lucas. Number 3. The measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge. For those who knew Jack Harrison, this idea wasn't just a quote, it was the way he lived. Jack passed away peacefully at the age of 91, leaving behind a legacy carved into the heart of American journalism. With a career spanning nearly 5 decades, he stood firm in the belief that great reporting could better lives, and he proved it. Starting humbly in Fort Pierce, Florida, as a printer's devil, Jack did every job a newspaper had to offer. That dedication led him, by the age of 32, to become publisher of the Gainesville Sun. There, he penned a series of columns that revealed the harsh housing conditions faced by black residents in the city. His bold advocacy won him the Pulitzer Prize and inspired real change. His leadership stretched far beyond one paper. He shaped the direction of the Ledger, the Ocala Star Banner, and later guided the New York Times Company's regional expansion. Jack didn't just manage newspapers, he made them more ethical, more inclusive, and more reflective of the communities they served. Among his many gifts was a rare blend of sharp editorial insight and personal warmth. Colleagues speak of a leader who challenged them to do their best work, but never forgot their birthdays. In Fort Pierce, he helped launch and guide the A.E. Backus Museum and Gallery, enriching the local art scene with as much passion as he brought to a newsroom. Jack also reunited late in life with his half-brother Frank, forming a powerful and cherished bond. At home, he shared a long and loving marriage with his wife, Lois, who stood beside him through his many journeys. He died of natural causes, surrounded by the peace he so rightly earned. Co-workers, reporters, artists, and neighbors alike are mourning his loss and sharing stories of his generosity, courage, and relentless curiosity. He expected the truth and taught us to seek it unapologetically, recalled one former colleague. His influence changed more than just newspapers. It changed people. Jack Harrison's legacy lives on in every story told with honesty, and every young reporter he mentored to believe in their words. Tributes to Jack Harrison. Number 2, Bobby didn't just greet you, he made you feel like you already belonged there. Those are the words one longtime J.G. Mellon regular used to describe Bobby Torre, the legendary host whose warmth and charm became part of the fabric of New York City itself. Bobby Torre passed away peacefully on April 7, 2025, at the age of 81 after a brief illness. His passing marks the end of an era, not only for J.G. Mellon, the beloved Upper East Side burger joint where he spent over 40 years, but for the entire city's hospitality scene. Born in Manhattan, Bobby had the kind of presence you don't forget. With a pencil tucked behind his ear, notes scribbled on paper, and a knowing smile, he orchestrated the bustling crowd at J.G. Mellon like a symphony, every table, every customer perfectly timed. But Bobby was more than just skilled, he was magnetic. Celebrities, longtime locals, and first-timers all received the same heartfelt welcome. Guests often returned not just for the food, but for Bobby's joyful energy, dry wit, and uncanny ability to remember a name, a face, or a story. As Restaurant Relics once wrote, "The burger may define J.G. Mellon, but Bobby became the face of this clubhouse." And behind that face was a man who worked tirelessly, with humor and humility, to make people feel seen. He once joked, "I feel like the key for the commissioner. I feel like Joe Valachi." It was that self-effacing charm that made you want to stay just a little longer. In the days following his passing, hundreds have shared memories and tributes online. J.G. Mellon said it best. He leaves behind a city and a burger joint that will never be the same without him. Bobby Torre is survived by a city that adored him and by the thousands of people whose lives he brightened with a smile and a table. Though J.G. Mellon's doors will stay open, the soul standing behind them feels a little emptier. His legacy is not just etched in the history of a restaurant, but in the hearts of all who passed through it. Tributes to Bobby Torre. What's trending on the internet? News 1. A heartbreaking mystery spanning nearly 15 years has finally been resolved for a New Jersey family. Human remains discovered in a submerged car pulled from the Cooper River in Pennsauken, New Jersey last May have been positively identified as Bernadine Gunner, who disappeared in July 2010 at the age of 52. Gunner was last seen driving her 2006 Hyundai Elantra in Camden, after telling family members she was feeling suicidal because she couldn't find employment. Her car was discovered less than a mile from where she was last seen, thanks to the efforts of United Search Corps, a non-profit organization that assists in locating missing persons. The Camden County Prosecutor's Office confirmed Gunner's identity through forensic DNA testing, bringing long-awaited closure to her loved ones. Prosecutor Grace McCauley expressed gratitude to all who helped return Bernadine to her family, acknowledging how heartbreaking missing person cases are for families left wondering about their loved ones' fates. Bernadine's family held a memorial service for her on Monday, celebrating the woman they remember for her warmth and kindness. As noted in her obituary, Bernadine had a smile that could brighten an entire room. A beautiful memory her family and community will cherish as they finally lay her to rest. News 2. The skydiving community is mourning the loss of 32-year-old Jade Damerel, a highly experienced parachutist who tragically passed away during a jump in County Durham, England, this past Sunday. With over 400 successful jumps to her name, Jade was known for her passion and expertise in the sport. Emergency services were called to the scene in the village of Shotton Colliery around 10:30 a.m. local time on April 27th, where Jade was sadly pronounced dead. Her passing has left her husband James, whom she married in 2025, her mother Liz, and the entire skydiving community in shock. Sky High Skydiving, the center where Jade had been jumping, released a statement acknowledging the tragic incident involving a valued member of their community. Fellow skydivers remember Jade as a respected and accomplished member of their close-knit community. The skydiving world is known for its strong bonds, with participants often describing themselves as a family united by their love of the sport. In times like these, that community draws together to honor the memory of one of their own. Jade will be remembered for her adventurous spirit, her remarkable achievements in the sport, and the joy she found in the freedom of flight. Our thoughts go out to her family, friends, and all who shared the skies with her. News 3. Sometimes communities show incredible strength in the face of heartbreak. Clara Robinson, an 8-year-old from Oklahoma, captured hearts across Texas and beyond after a Christmas Eve tragedy. Her family's car was swept away by flooding in Sherman, Texas, and though rescuers saved her mother and 3 siblings, Clara disappeared in the rushing water while her father, Will Robinson, a beloved high school basketball coach, tragically lost his life while trying to save his family. For 4 months, volunteers from Texas EquiSearch, alongside local authorities and countless supporters, searched tirelessly by land and water, holding on to hope and surrounding the Robinson family with care and prayers. Recently, after exhaustive efforts, the team made the deeply difficult decision to bring their official search to a close. Though local divers will continue to look for answers when possible, Clara and her father will always be remembered for the love and bravery they inspired. Their story has united neighbors, friends, and strangers in compassion, a remarkable reminder that even through sorrow, a community's heart can shine the brightest. Clara remains in all our hearts, and her family's strength stands as a touching legacy for all who knew them. News 4. Baseball fans across America are mourning the loss of a beloved figure in the sport. Seymour Winer, the famous New York Mets superfan and World War II veteran, has passed away at the age of 98. Known for his unwavering devotion to the Mets and his good-natured embrace of jokes about his name, Winer captured hearts throughout the baseball community. The team honored his passing with a heartfelt announcement on Tuesday. Born in 1926, Seymour served his country honorably during World War II in the Air Force and Army Air Forces, eventually reaching the rank of lieutenant colonel. His military service spanned numerous locations across the United States, from New York to California. Winer's presence at Mets games became legendary, and the team had previously celebrated his dedication with a special tribute. As baseball season continues, fans and players alike will remember this remarkable superfan for his spirit, humor, and lifelong passion for the game he loved. News 5. The journalism community is mourning the loss of a remarkable talent. Matt Thomas, an award-winning radio journalist and anchor at News 88.7, has passed away at the age of 41. Known for his engaging presence on Houston public media, Thomas was a beloved voice to many listeners across Texas, having worked in both Houston and Dallas throughout his distinguished career. Beyond his role as a news anchor, Thomas also served as the radio voice for the Houston Rockets and was a host on Sports Talk 790, where he shared his passion for sports with listeners daily. Colleagues remember him for his professionalism, warm personality, and dedication to delivering important stories to the community. Thomas's impact extended beyond broadcasting. He was known for connecting with listeners on a personal level and bringing clarity to complex issues. His legacy will live on through the countless broadcasts he shared with audiences and the journalism standards he upheld throughout his career. The radio waves will certainly feel quieter without his distinctive voice. News 6. Sometimes, even the most experienced hands can find themselves at the heart of history, and that's what happened just outside Washington, D.C. on the evening of January 29th. Army Captain Rebecca Lobach, just 28 years old and a skilled Black Hawk helicopter pilot, was carrying out her annual proficiency assessment with her instructor, Chief Warrant Officer Andrew Eves, and Staff Sergeant Ryan O'Hara aboard. Their flight, routine in so many ways, turned tragic when their helicopter collided with American Airlines Flight 5342, a regional jet carrying 64 people, as it approached Reagan National Airport. In moments, both aircraft plunged into the Potomac River, and 67 lives were lost in one of the most severe aviation incidents the nation has seen in decades. Investigators say multiple factors contributed, from the helicopter's higher than recommended altitude, to confusion over air traffic instructions, and even the challenge of using night vision goggles in a well-lit environment. Though nothing can undo the heartbreak, communities have come together in remembrance, honoring not just those aboard the lost aircraft, but the everyday heroism and dedication of our service members and flight crews. Their legacies remind us of both the courage of those who take on challenging roles every day and the importance of continually learning and improving the safety that protects us all. Number 1. He was quiet in his manner but strong in every stride. Those who played beside him knew they could rely on his grit, strength, and unwavering presence in defense. David Woodfield wasn't just part of the game, he steeled its backbone. David passed away peacefully at the age of 81 after a brief illness. His legacy as a true Wolves stalwart remains firmly planted in English football. Spending nearly a decade at Wolverhampton Wanderers, David appeared in more than 250 matches. A central figure in the heart of defense, he also managed to score 13 league goals, an impressive feat for a defender known more for stopping attacks than starting them. His time at Molineux, especially through the 1960s, helped shape a formidable era for the club. He later continued his career at Watford, bringing his leadership and resilience to another team before retiring from league football. But David's story didn't stop on English soil. He took his love for the game across the globe, focusing his post-playing career on coaching and education. From Qatar to Saudi Arabia, from Brunei to Malaysia, where he spent over a decade, he left a quiet legacy of inspiration. Coaching teams, mentoring youth, and growing the sport in places where his name might not have been instantly recognized, he helped plant football's roots far and wide. In Malaysia, his work with Sabah FC stood out. He didn't just coach, he cared. He shared the game with humility and commitment, just as he once did in his playing days. Wolverhampton Wanderers community remembered him fondly, the hard-man former Wolves centre-half, their words echoing the respect he earned over a long career. He didn't chase the spotlight. He played with hearts and minds and led with quiet resolve. Throughout his life, David Woodfield showed that true strength isn't just about tackles and headers, it's about loyalty, humility, and sharing what you love with others. He leaves behind not just memories of great games, but the greater impact of a life lived fully through football. Tributes to David Woodfield. David helped countless people and expended every fiber of his being pushing society towards freedom. He may not have saved the world, but he most certainly made it a better place, especially for us.